move on to the position of Vice President for Education. We have 3 candidates standing for this position. We have Grace Boyle, Molly Anna Bryson, and Nicole Fay. Okay, can I just get us, we have to make sure all 3 candidates are here. Nicole, yes, I can see it's all now. Thank you, sorry. Okay, well, to kick us off then, we will have a 2 minutes from each candidate, just outlining their campaign and why you think that students should vote for you in the election. Okay, so first person will be Grace Boyle, second to speak will be Molly Anna Bryson, and thirdly it will be Nicole Fay. So Grace, whenever you're ready.
Hi Nora. So hello everyone, my name is Grace. I'm the current VP for the Coleraine campus and I'm running to be your next VP Education. I have a track record in student representation, having been a course rep, a faculty rep and then a student trainer in my final year, so I have a very good understanding of the student learning experience and how to best represent students academically throughout their journey in university. So if you elect me as your VP Education, I'll be tackling many issues that students have been facing as a result of the pandemic. Students have faced a number of different challenging issues, and some of which I've been working on this year. I'll, as your VP Education, continue to tackle hidden course costs. I've been working on this policy within the Office for Digital Learning to eliminate hidden course fees so that students can get on with their studies and not have any debt to think about. I've also been deeply concerned about students losing their jobs as a result of the pandemic. I'll be working with our careers department to ensure that we create job opportunities for part-time work and placement opportunities to tackle the financial pressures. However, I do think we need to revisit how we support our postgrads. I think our postgrads need to be access to maintenance support. I have a strong track record in public lobbying, and I will engage in conversations with our postgrad students and postgrad community to lobby for better maintenance support. Students this year have faced massive social isolation, and I work this year to tackle loneliness. Some of our students this year have not met a single person within their class. I'll ensure that there's an academic society that is represented within each school department to ensure that there's networks for our students to make friends and get to know their course reps. I also think that our clinical placement students have faced the brunt of this year, being at the front face of the pandemic. I've been working hard this year, along with our VP McGee, to ensure that the £2,000 special recognition funding is allocated to all students that are in recognition to that. I'll continue to support those students, and I believe that I'm up on my time. So if you're feeling empowered, please vote Grace for VP Education.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to Molly Anna.
Hi folks, my name's Molly Anna in the UUSU elections to be your next VP Education. Throughout my time at Ulster, I've been involved in many different representation roles, such as course rep, student council, student panel, as well as other roles. These roles have taught me the differences and struggles a student face on a daily basis, which is why I have made my manifesto about amplifying the student voice through student voice hubs, as well as drop-in sessions with our postgrad, PhD researchers to amplify their voice and make sure their problems are heard and dealt with. I also want to tackle the issue of student finance, because most students are living in poverty and below the poverty line. And I want to lobby the government to review how it allocates maintenance grants and loans. I also want to make resources more accessible through the use of subtitles and making sure resources are uploaded to Blackboard on a regular basis, because I know for my course in Irish Language and Literature, pre-pandemic, they didn't use Blackboard, and I want to rectify that coming out of the pandemic to make sure Blackboard is utilised. I also want to strengthen and alleviate student stress, because students are stressed anyway, and a lot of deadlines tend to be bunched, which is why I want to make staggered deadlines and mid-semester reading weeks a thing if I'm elected as your VP Education, and I feel I can do this. Vote Molly Anna Bryson for VP Education.
Thank you very much, Molly. And finally, we will have the opening statement from Nicole Fay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can indeed, Nicole.
So hello, my name is Nicole Fay and I would like to be your Vice President for Education. I started off actually doing the foundation degree for the Southwest College, so I don't actually have the traditional UU experience, which I think actually would help me be your Vice President of Education. As a young mum myself, I think that there should be more educational support and hopefully childcare provided in each campus, which is affordable. There should also be more educational support for online digital learnings and more sessions with tutors. There should also be more emotional well-being support for students studying during lockdown and more guidance on assignments. I also, I was a member of these councils. We provided different experiences such as like advocating for LGBT, advocating for people who've been bullied and mental health. And I am now currently a course rep. So if you would vote for Nicole Fay for your VP Education.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicole. We will now move on to the first question for the candidates. So just so you are aware, the order for this will be Molly, then Nicole, and then Grace. Okay, so I'll just put the question forward first. Molly, you'll be responding first, okay? So this question has come in from a class rep. Question is, as a class rep, I feel that not much has come of SSUU meetings in relation to improvements to the course and student life. How will you ensure that which is discussed in these meetings, both in the university and at Stormont, will be heard and more importantly, acted on? So that first question will go to Molly. Molly, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, fine. So a question from a class rep. As a class rep, I feel that not much has come of SSUU meetings in relation to improvements to the course and student life. How will you ensure that which is discussed in these meetings, both in the university and at Stormont, will be heard and more importantly, acted on? So Molly, you have 30 seconds to answer that question.
Well, as a class rep and a course rep, I have experience of those meetings and I feel not much has come out of them, but as your VP Education, I will work with the faculty reps, the university staff, and the school and department reps to ensure that the course reps or voices are being heard and they're being listened to and they're being put up the system, and we can lobby the government to make the next necessary changes.
Okay, thank you, Molly. Next person to answer the question is Nicole. Nicole, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
You're fine. As a class rep, I feel that not much has come of SSUU meetings in relation to improvements to the course and student life. How will you ensure which is discussed in these meetings, both in the university and at Stormont, will be heard and more importantly, acted on?
Well, as Molly said, I would, as a course rep, I would agree that not much does come from them meetings. However, I do feel that if you saw such as forums and stuff like that, there may help the situation of helping with student life. I also feel like lobbying the government would help, and working with the faculty in the UU. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. And finally, we have Grace. Grace, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, I'm sorry, Nora. Thank you.
This is brilliant. I love the sound of my own voice. As a class rep, I feel that not much has come of SSUU meetings in relation to improvements to the course and student life. How will you ensure which is discussed in these meetings, both in the university and at Stormont, will be heard and more importantly, acted on?
Yeah, so thank you so much for the question. So I've been working on the UUSU platform. As I was course rep before, I understand that going in the SSCCs, some things don't get action on because there's no record. Now that we have the UUSU platform, we now have a compilation of examples that we can extrapolate from. And so we can have a gathered piece of evidence to take to the likes of Stormont to really action on those points. So I'm really excited to have launched the UUSU platform along with our VP Education.
Okay. Thank you. We will now move to question number 2. And the order for this will be Nicole, Grace, and then Molly. So question 2. Students have suffered uncertainty during COVID about their learning outcomes. What needs to be learned from this experience and how will you address these challenges? So Nicole, you're first.
Well, I think, especially learning online, students have been feeling very lonely. So they have, I think, more guidance, especially during this time, needs to be put on the assignment briefs, because it's not normal times that students are learning, and they can feel very left out and very confused, especially first time students who are in their first year. I think it can be very confusing for them. So more guidance on assignments should be provided, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. We will now move to Grace. Would you like to repeat the question?
Yes.
Okay. So students have suffered uncertainty during COVID about their learning outcomes. What needs to be learned from this experience and how will you address these challenges?
So over the course of my VP year, I have had a number of students come to me with uncertainty and isolation and not knowing how to get on with their course because of the isolation that they're facing. I think we need to look at more accessible forms of education and ensuring that students do have their lectures online, to ensure that their course directors are already available, to provide better kind of networks for lectures. And I'll go back to UNITU and think it's a great platform to raise those concerns and get them actioned on. And I'll repeat my
Thanks,
point.
Grace.
Oh,
sorry,
thanks.
that was 30 seconds. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, and finally, Molly. Just say if you need me to repeat the question or anything, okay?
Yes, can you repeat the question, Nora, please?
Okay. Students have suffered uncertainty during COVID about their learning outcomes. What needs to be learned from this experience and how will you address these challenges?
Well, I feel more feedback and more regular feedback needs to be given to students from course staff. And I also feel more guidance needs to be given on assignments. And like Grace said, I feel like more flexible and accessible learning should be used during this time, especially with COVID, and you don't know what goes on in people's lives. So, there you go.
Thank you, Molly. Okay, and you'll be happy to know that that is the questions over for the position of Vice President Education. So it just leaves us with the last part, which is a 30-second submission from each candidate standing for the position. So the running order for this will be Nicole, Molly, and then Grace. Okay, so Nicole, you're first and you have 30 seconds.
As I said, so I want more emotional support within assignments, and especially whenever you are learning online at the moment. I would also like more support and maybe childcare provided on campuses for mothers. As I said, it is hard, especially as a mum myself, to get that there and learn, because it is near impossible to do any study with a child. So if you vote for me for VP Education, thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, next up we have Molly.
Hi guys, I want to make my priorities a reality within this educational system within Ulster, which includes student voice, student finance, student stress, and accessible resources, because these are all issues that I've been talking to students about, and they are affected by these. And if I am elected as your VP Education, I will action these issues to make your educational experience at Ulster the best it can possibly be. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. And finally, we have Grace.
So I have had a year in the role during a pandemic. As a university senator, I've worked on the highest academic body of the university. I've been working hard this year to support you. I want to restore our student experience. I believe I have the skills and the year behind me to do so. And I believe that we can make a better year of next year. So if you're feeling empowered, vote Grace for Education.
Okay, thank you very much. And that concludes the questions and answers for our candidates for the position of Vice President Education. So thank you very much, everybody. If people want to show their appreciation, you can clap if they like.